For more than 20 years, an armed conflict between the rebel group, the Lord Resistance Army, and the Uganda government, which led to various human rights abuses and atrocities committed by the LRA, affected northern Uganda. Approximately 1.8 million people were displaced into internally displaced people's camps within Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-regions. The return of peace and normalcy facilitated the spontaneous return of the IDP to their villages of origin, and by the end of 2010, more than 93% had returned. As a majority of returnees rebuilt their lives, a small portion of extremely vulnerable individuals failed to return to their villages of origin due to extreme poverty characterized by physical disabilities and limitation. HelpAge beneficiaries who have returned to their villages of origin are still struggling to achieve durable solutions. 89-year-old Ochaya Paul has to struggle every day to provide a single meal, usually cassava and vegetables, to his family.
Yo manongusham achara pora ka poro kira mokede no macha la tienda cha ye konya ya chama bene ka wi kana ti ya chara ti la tienda cha ye konya mono la guakan wanu no wa beru wana me no ya en ate men ora bere tunga chui otowo kwere me pu ne ken ngata cha na na won do na ya ke won ma konye be pere mier bene kwere kunu.
Ochaya Paul has had to work hard every day to earn some money to buy soap, salt and food. His wife, who has had her broken hand not treated due to lack of transport to a hospital and medical attention, sits at home unable to do any housework because of her disability.
Ya kar ke no ma kan kar be tiri ana tian ke an da ka tian sa ni tinga ke kan wan be ka mian do ma ke wan da ka da ni sia pue no ke ta ka ate ke ni ke ro bo ke wan ba na wa be kan ke na bur ke be to cham no a ke ken bi o to na to wa na di ro to wa na ni ke ko ni te wa na pe na man ma tika mata dera mata ya oga para tiano konwa o be no akai na nya na ni bi charo ya be tu cher ko wari ke kanyo mi ta ma tipe ke genu mama nang.
Adong Nekolina, a 78-year-old grandmother of 4, is another of the elderly persons who has been abandoned by her family members and has had to struggle to provide for her grandchildren and herself. The children are orphans and don't go to school due to the lack of basic scholastic materials like uniforms, books and pens, despite the free universal primary education program for Uganda.
Wachar por katar gana bi chul wachiane chul no ke chama mo wa chama na tika chama mo kene aba no ke no pe ke ke na pa pe ma la oke chama ti acheli ka no ma ka wa por chen mi adwa kwe mi adwa ke gem ma yi aya mo no ber ka konya nya na ma ti ka aya no konya ya nya ni no be ko be no ko me liap yung pio ka konya aya no ke la ker ka do ke la da gwa ko ya chama ya o ke wa nyon
Nekolina uses her grandchildren to dig other people's gardens whilst she assists with simple weeding to get food and money to buy basic household items like salt, soap and paraffin. This source of livelihood is very unreliable and unsustainable, more especially during the dry period when there is less agricultural activity.
When you come back to the national level, under our constitution, 1995, Article 32 talks about affirmative action, addressing the imbalances created either by history, age, disability, or gender. And the older persons are part of those who are affected by age. In the previous arrangement of government, there was no specific address to this affirmative action. It is under this context that the ministry in charge of older persons and the department was created in 1998. The idea here is that when we are allocating resources or planning any government programs or civil society programs, we must ensure that specific attention is given to these vulnerable groups, especially the older persons.
Ot lo dirma tiki mako dagang kumbeti pegi tiki ot meka vorma be lo diro pegi tiki gena chama ti itwe no ne la diet gwak onywali ti ana riwa dek ti ana manyer go chiaro ka cho la ti ana mala cho kumbero no daone tika ko ki daone ki marne ki jomo ken la diet gi wega la bonke arma mier kon pegi gena roga pegi gen mi umekere pegi ka mi for ye pegi gen chama we ko nong pi maleng mi ro won mabo ki pegi ki kero piano dero kete mara pier bor gi pegi kero me nong ko me yat mati
lu dir mu tegi ma wan ma nogi mu kene ti ma dong gu yok ki tuo jonyo mi kom kar ni ma ino la dir ti ki tuo jonyo no be nyar mo nyu wero ta ki tuo jonyo mi kom kar ni lu tiro dongo kenyo ngata mo matika gwa ne pe ino ni genti at kengi ngata mi ro kon gi pe chika wan o kuno no ko cha wen gi ta ni ka wan o no wa chwa kit gi mo no go ko wor ke chingwa eno ker wa peke bo ko non kit gi no mo we ko chwa legi.
When we talk about older persons and we talk about HIV and AIDS, there is a general perception that older persons are not affected, but these are caregivers, caretakers of the victims of AIDS. You note that our traditional institutions have broken out because of this urbanization. These older persons are left on their own, and they are caring for orphans. They are caring for the victim, AIDS victims, and yet attention is not given to them. I think this is a problem we need to look at.
Ano to pa mon cho to pa cho de ti maraj mai no la diete di ke chero no ti chane kene ngar ma mi be kon pe ma dom kum be kar ke chieng ana chieng do ye ni.
The older persons mainly talked of ill health as a key concern. By the way, this is quite different from other vulnerable groups. When we interview youth, when we interview orphans and other vulnerable children, they usually come up with poverty as the first key concern. But surprisingly, the older persons came up with ill health. And so it is it is also highlighted as an area of focus.
pe eno ke ken pe ka ken ma wan no jim ba jomo tegi mano ma gutie lu tien ge mai o ke bot ge ni gen no twer ge dong pake kon gi dong twer ti no chue chue ni en ram ne ko la dit yo pien jim ni mo ke ba ne ma le ngam ya o mo ke ke kwa nyo pel ti kwa nyo di le bo ke kwa ni ne ka ka nyu dianga ke charo ti en wen ti ka ke pe ke ga ma mier puny wan wa mede ke puny jomo tegi ke wor kin ga wek olo ngi jo betie ma ubi riwa ke lu tena wo be wa ke mon wor ge wen wek u bet ki ngi ni lu dir mo tegi kari foundation wek wan wa tiene bien wan wen ubi o ga kono kar me tegi afoy.
I would like to use this opportunity as the country coordinator of HelpAge International to call upon government to expand social protection to Northern Uganda. And here our interest in the current social protection program is the cash transfer for the older persons, the older persons grant. We will be very happy if we see the extremely vulnerable individuals in Northern Uganda benefiting from this grant.
My appeal is to ensure that there is integration of all categories of people. When you talk about orphans, you shouldn't isolate them from the older persons. When you talk about the vulnerables, we want to ensure that the person with disability are catered for. And you know, when you're addressing programs for disability, there is no way you can avoid older persons, because part of the cause of disability is advance in age. You note that people have lost sight, people have physically crippled because of old age. So whatever program that we want to look at, I would specifically call upon those development partners, you said, the FID, UN agencies that are operating in Northern Uganda, and all government programs to ensure that the component for the aging population is properly catered for.
By the end of 2010, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees had registered more than 10,000 extremely vulnerable individuals in northern Uganda. Ochaya Paul, among many others, struggles tirelessly on a daily basis to meet their most basic needs and that of orphans and vulnerable children in their care. HelpAge International feels that Ochaya Paul deserves to live and age in dignity on a monthly old age grant provided by the government of Uganda is a key solution to achieving this human right.